Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox On channel host Sega Forever here. Um, Again, as I start this video, I do apologize for the background noise. It is early Sunday morning where I'm coming from, and where I live. A lot of people try and get a lot of stuff done on the weekend, and Sunday being no exception. So you hear the barking dogs, and you hear the excuse me, and you hear the weed eaters, and you hear the loud noises, and the kids running around. I meant to do this podcast a little earlier, but it was just way too noisy. But if I don't start this now, I won't be able to get the timing that I need to do the podcast. And as you can hear, there's a dog in the background. Uh, and that's the area where I live. But one thing I do love about the area is that there's always people around, and the people here are friendly. They got your back. We have a person that lives in my community that has all the information on everything that's going on. Sometimes it's a little bit of too TMI, but it's good, man. You don't have to worry about anybody coming to your neighborhood, stuff getting stolen. Everybody knows everybody. Most of the people here are family for generations, right? So it is what it is, man. Sometimes and I'm only saying that because sometimes on my podcast I talk about stuff and it can sound a little bit frustrated when we're trying to do stuff, but the point being is that there's good and bad, and the good far outweighs the bad. So I just wanted to make that point before I get started. Um, yeah, what's up, T? What's up, brother? I'm almost on Prestige 10 with Call of Duty, so I'm trying to get those double XP points and bonuses in, so I can level up faster. Because once I get to Prestige level 10 on COD, then I can focus on individual weapons and kits and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, I'm not like you and Gogo, man. You guys, when I play with you guys, man, you guys run roughshod over everybody, and that's not me. I'm old, man. I'm too old to be. My reflexes aren't the same, man. I was playing on stakeout last night, and it was funny, dude. I took this one guy out, and then I focused to turn on the other person, man, and I just couldn't get the my aim up, So I was shooting up going for the head because the gun I had it puts out a lot of rounds, but doesn't do a lot of damage. And I'm just trying to level up the gun, and it's almost as if the person, as I'm hitting the character, as I'm hitting the person, right? Just to basically turn, look down, and took one shot with a shotgun into my head, and I died. And then just a reminder that I'm old. So yeah, dude, I'm enjoying the game, man. I know people have some issues with COD. There's some stuff they definitely got to work out, man. The cheating is getting a little bit more rampant. You can tell. I was in games last night, dude, and you can tell as soon as I enter a game, halfway during the game or as part of a game on the multiplayer, man, I know one or two things: either there's lag with people or there's cheating going on. Because most of the time, when the game first launched, you'd be just in a game that's starting off from scratch. So I'm guilty of that too, dude. If I feel like like especially if there's lag, especially if there's what I feel is cheating, dude, I'll just drop out. And I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm old and I don't, I have no problem dying a million times. I just don't like people that are using, like I'll be honest with you, dude. There's people you can tell they're so bad at trying to hide it, and you don't have to. Like I said before in other videos, you don't have to hide it anymore because there's nothing they can do about it. They're trying their best, right? It is what it is. Like I said before on a previous video, what I do is I try and enjoy COD the way that I like to play, and I play it my way. So if I drop out, I drop out. Sometimes I'm doing stuff just to get, just to get those points. Uh, I'm 8 and 6 now. Ooh, what is that? 8 and 6. T. Your prestige level 8? Yeah, I think I'm 9. I'm either 8 or 9 on prestige. That's why I gotta get. I think they have double XP weekend, which sucked me back in. Yeah, it's been sucking up all my time, dude, because I do want to get to that 10 level, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. I even bought some skins, which I do sometimes, but for COD Black Ops 6, I haven't been really impressed with their skins. I have no problem paying for stuff if I like it. But like with a lot of the other games that I play, man, that people they're trying to make money off of, right? You have to give me something that I want to buy. That's why I don't go. That's why I don't go ballistic on people that that do the microtransactions. Because a lot of the times their microtransactions don't appeal to me, so I don't have a hard time. I know I personally don't have a hard time not buying things with microtransactions. Plus, I'm old school. You're asking me for $30 on something. I better like that. Or I better want to use it. It's not if something I look at and I don't like the way it looks, I'm not gonna use it. You're not gonna get my money. Prestige on Xbox and almost 6 on Sony. Oh, okay, I got it. I got it. Yeah, I think I'm Prestige 9, bro, on Xbox. And that's not me bragging, dude. I'm pretty sure you prestige faster. Like you prestige probably like in an hour. It takes me like almost 2.5 hours to prestige. Because sometimes, um, when you're trying to meet the requirements for the bonus, right? Dude, some of them, dude, it take a hard time. It takes me a long time to get those bonus points. Man. I just keep on playing until I get it. Like one night, man, I was like 4 hours on one of them, and what it was the drill charge. It was the what was it? When you shoot somebody close. It was that one, and there's some other ridiculous 50 on a shotgun. No, 25 headshots on shotgun. Dude, that took me a long time. Yeah, oh yeah, I got you, man. That's what I do actually. T. That's what I do. But see, in the beginning, I was never really good on zombies. I never liked Call of Duty zombies. I don't like zombies the way that they have it. I'm more of the Left 4 Dead kind of zombie guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm that kind of guy. Like with the Call of Duty, man, they amp those guys up pretty quick. But I would say like this is the first zombies I liked as much. It still has some of the stuff I don't like, but overall I think it's a little bit more arcadey for me. And then it's easy to get into, figure it out pretty quickly. But yeah, you're right, dude. If you guys are out there trying to level up on COD and your prestige, just go to or your weapons or anything, especially when you have double XP weekend, right? Because I was at a prestige 854. When you get up in the higher ranks, it takes a little longer to prestige. But I was on 55. I was on 55, and then I 100%ed, and then I went into the next, and I leveled up all the way to 20, just on zombies, because I was on there for like an hour and a half, and the guy that I was like the crew I was running with was really good, and then we went to 38, and then we exfilled out, so I got the full everything. Plus my kits are pretty good now. I use a shotgun that does fire damage, and then I got a lot of my what is it called? Dudes, my augments. I got those up. Yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn about augments and Coca Cola and stuff like that. I knew them from the other game, but like I said, I never liked those other games. So the other modes in the zombie games for COD, and so I like it this time. I don't know why I like it more. Maybe it's more intuitive for me, and you can tell the difference, man. I was that way when I first started, so I'm pretty sure people get frustrated with me. But what I try and do, I try and help people out as much as I can when I play because there's some people like I was with a crew the other day, man, and they had no idea. You could tell they didn't know anything about the perks, about the augments. This one guy kept on going down once we got past level 10. I mean, he always was going down, so I made it a point to kind of stick around him, right? And then luckily my kit was good, man. I was using the healing. Um, uh, was it the healing I was using? Oh no, no. What I had was I had the bubblegum one that you could you take it and then you'll teleport to them and they'll rise. And I only had that because I had so much of that as opposed to other ones. I don't like paying for those, dude. That's one of my things I'll never do. Yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But hopefully, man. I mean, since we're talking about it, guys, I mean, they have some work to do. I mean, I think they did a great job at the launch. Xbox handled everything perfectly across all platforms, man. There's still a lot of people PC like you playing it on PlayStation Reaper. What people are saying is that they had the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2. So they're looking at COD going over there. Supposedly, it's supposed to be a new, more powerful Switch. Hopefully, it is for a lot of people that have Switches. If you want to do multiplayer, man, you have to own a Switch and another console for the most part. And I don't know how all that's going to work out, but we'll see. Plus, it's competing with the Steam Deck and Rogue Ally and all that stuff. I'm not heavy deep into the Switch, so I'm not going to dive into that. Um, but it is what it is. Yeah, guys. So this is going to kind of be. Hey, T, thanks for being here, brother. This is kind of going to be a long podcast, dude, and I might have to break in a couple of it and stuff like that. So if you guys come for along for the ride, that's great, dude. If you guys are in the chat, this is just going to be me, so I'll be able to answer the chat because this is my politics of pop culture. video that I'm doing today. And so it's just basically a hangout. We're going to do an inaugural day edition. As you guys know, I've been shifting towards politics on my channel. But what I want to talk about when it comes to politics is just a lot of the stuff that's going on in pop culture, right? And that's the purpose of this uh, inaugural day edition. In fact, what I'll do, man, because I wanted to do some other stuff earlier in the week, I just didn't have the time, and then putting this stuff together takes time, and there's so much information to consume that I didn't have the time to actually put it out there, right? And what I mean is that a lot of times when I talk about stuff on here, it can be opinionated, which I'm fine with. Like, people come on the channel, they give their opinions, and that's their opinions, right? But a lot of this stuff I wanted to put out was more informative for informational purposes. So I had to make sure that my stuff was correct. And then when you do that, man, you got to do a lot of research and deep diving and stuff like that, right? I did a video talking about a lot of the commotion that President Trump talked about in the Panama Canal, with Greenland becoming territory of the United States, as well as Canada becoming the 51st state, um, as well as the wall and all the stuff that was going on. Right, he just did a big dump one day that sent everybody like in a frenzy on both sides, his supporters and his detractors. And when I did that video, I did it in the sense of just throwing it out there. So in that type of thing, man, that was more of a fun video for me to do, because a lot of that stuff is a little bit outrageous. A lot of that stuff, like I said in the previous video, he does to get to draw attention to, it's if you haven't read his book, The Art of the Deal, I highly recommend you read it. Even if you don't like him, you should go read it. This guy's going to be in office for 4 years, right? So either you can do 4 years trying to understand him, or 4 years banging your head against the wall, or you can do what I did the last 4 years, just trying to ignore it. Right, but a lot of his policies are going to affect you. So that's my recommendation. Right, like the last 4 years, how I was affected by the last 4 years. This 4 years for some of you guys, whether pro or con, for President Trump, is going to affect you. Right, and there's going to be some big sweeping changes. Just the other day, he dropped. It was about a week ago on X. He basically dropped his Department of External Tax. If you guys didn't know this, he's not a big fan of taxes, right? Or at least federal taxes, the way the federal government, not only that they collect taxes, but the way that they spend their money. That's going to be a big focus of his presidency, right? Is trying to get government under control, trying to get it more efficient. This is why a lot of people look at him as a businessman, and that's kind of his wheelhouse. The only problem with that is that he's dealing with federal government, right? And so he's trying to bring that. He's going to try and bring that beast on the wraps. Me personally, if I was him, I would just cut the whole thing, right? Because there's a story that came out in the news, and this is not surprising for me, that a lot of federal employees, especially on the higher levels, man, they're gonna try and slow walk everything that he tries to do. They're gonna be the resistance, right? Which they shouldn't be. They're federal workers, and he's the president. They should fall in line, right? And a lot of times when you're a federal worker, your politics need to stay out on the side, because a lot of the jobs you do, whether it's the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, right, FEMA, as you see in the news, everything that's going on, dude, you should not be biased. It doesn't matter if it's Biden or Trump in office, dude. They give you orders, you should follow. It's in the military as well. But you've had a lot of people that come in there that are letting their politics run their priorities, and that's wrong, right? So for me personally, I think you just should go in and gut everything like you talked about in the beginning. If he went in on Monday and just totally just took out the IRS, I'd be totally fine with that. I mean, that's how bad things have gotten, right? These people are wearing their hearts on their sleeves, and they're taking things personally, and then they're weaponizing their offices. Again, like I said on this channel before, a lot of the people in these positions are either hired or appointed, right? And when you have people with a certain mind think and that are not afraid to have their ideologies rule over their federal responsibilities, that's when we can get in trouble. So hopefully he does that. That's what I would recommend. Again, I'm a pro Xbox channel. We saw that with the FTC, with the AKB deal, Microsoft trying to buy Activision King Blizzard. A lot of people are wondering what was going on. If you're a gamer, especially, and gaming, right? Because you participated, you support it, so you know the ins and outs of gaming, and then you sit there wondering why the FTC was doing what they were doing when everything points to everything points to a business-friendly, consumer-friendly service being provided. Right? And because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the gamers or video games or even the deal. It's all about politics, right? And we need to uh, get that out of Washington D.C. Those guys are not appointed to be rulers. Basically, what you're having in D.C. right now is basically you have a president who sits there who thinks he's king, and then you have all the little dukes and archbishops and all these people that fall under him that govern. They don't govern, they rule, and they rule by fiat. Right? That's why the last 4 years have been so hard. And I know some people don't like me saying that, but I'm gonna be honest, man. I keep 100 on this channel, but a lot of people didn't like what was going on for the last 4 years, and a lot of people got affected by it, even though a lot of people don't keep up with it, kind of like on the level that I do, because it's interesting to me. I'm not smarter than everybody else, man, but I like digging into this kind of stuff. And again, going back to my original point, that's why I didn't put out the videos that I did. I thought I'd have the time, just didn't, because it was a big deep dive. What I will show you guys though is the greatest hits of the week, especially when we're focusing on the confirmation hearings. It was absolutely wonderful to watch. That's another thing that I will say. You guys know that I like a lot of K dramas and anime, and I do love movies. Right, this is why I'm a pop culture channel. Right, I like to talk about this stuff. But let's be honest, man. A lot of stuff Hollywood's been putting out has been absolute trash. It's been so bad. I've had to go outside of the U.S. to get my entertainment fix. But one thing that we still do well in the U.S. that no other country can touch is our politics, right? Especially on the entertainment side. And as you guys know, President Trump's cabinet picks went through their hearings this week, and it was absolute, man. It was gold. I enjoyed every single minute of it. I love the back and forth. The only thing I probably enjoy more than this is when English. I like watching the English Parliament, and not because it affects us. I mean, in some instances it can. We do have a relationship with England, but one thing I love watching is because their Parliament is totally different from how our. They have a Parliament. Number one, we have a House and a Senate, and it's interesting to see to juxtapose the two systems. But I just love the way British. I just love the debate in Parliament. I watch it all the time, all day long. But I will say that this week for the U.S. we kind of went up them, in my opinion, with some of the stuff. And what I'll do, dude, is I'll bring in some of the biggest highlights um, uh, of the week. So as you guys know, there's guys like Pete Hegseth. He's going to be the new Secretary of Defense. Hopefully, he's confirmed, which I think he will be. We really need somebody like him, dude. I'll let you guys know from the jump, man. I work with the military. I work with them closely, dude. I see the military in action every single day, man. And the military that we have now, um, it's just a far cry. I mean, I served in the military, and it's changed so much, right? And we need to get back to good, right? We need to repurpose. We need to refocus. The military needs to become what it. The military needs to be what is meant to be, right? Which is a warfighting first organization, right? And the military has the same problem that a lot of government agencies have, right? They've gotten big. They've become too big, and they lost focus. Well, the guy that President Trump elected to be the new Secretary of Defense, I think, is the right guy for the job. And I just got a simple couple clips I wanted to share with you guys, man, because I think it's apropos um, to what the military needs right now, dude. Most definitely. All right, guys. So I'm just gonna pop this up right here. There's my feed. You guys know I'm on X constantly. I consume a lot of stuff. Dude. I consume a lot of stuff. Um, but let me. This is probably like my one reason why I support this guy so much. Right? Hold on, let me blow this up for you guys, dude, so you guys can see it.
Why do you want to do this job? What drives you?
You have 30 seconds.
Because I love my country, Senator, and I've dedicated my life to the warfighters. People see me as someone who hosts a morning show on television. But people that really know me know where my heart's at. It's with the guys in this audience
Sorry about that.
who've had my back, and I've had theirs. We've been in some of the darkest and most difficult places you can ever be in. You come back a different person. And only by the grace of God am I here before you today. I'm doing this job for them,
Thank
for all
you.
of them.
Why do you want to do this job? What drives you?
Yeah, exactly what he said, man. I think it's important. That's the one of the reasons that I support him for Secretary of Defense, and I've known about it for a long time, more than most. Just for the simple fact that where I get my news sources from, and a lot of the things I'm involved with, especially when it comes to the military, this guy has been out there for the troops from day one. And most importantly, two things that stood out to me when he did that. The first thing being is that he loves the country, and I think that's important, especially if you're serving in the military. It's also important for government service, and that's first and foremost. And he definitely does, man. And the second thing being is that he's been there, he's done that. It amazes me a lot of times, especially when I was in the military. Some of the people that they get to run organizations have no military experience at all, and sometimes that's where the conflict would come in. There's nothing wrong with civilians um, being in charge of military personnel or military organizations. The problem happens when you're a person that's in these organizations and you don't like the military or you don't like the military slash industrial complex, dude. The kind of people that are here in the country that complain about how bad the country is, yet still live here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at some point in time, man, you're gonna have a conflict of interest if you're in these positions, and that's what's been happening the last, I say, 2 decades, 2 to 3 decades. Government service has been inundated definitely with a lot of people who are anti-government, and it's okay to be anti-government, but while you're realizing the purpose of government and why it's important. That's why I've always been a guy ever since I was younger, man. I've always believed in limited government. I think it's the mantra that we should do moving forward. It's something that President Trump. One of the reasons I voted for him is because he believes in that as well. Now, he's a little bit different from me. He comes from more of a business and industrial background, so he's seen the harm that way. When government regulations and stuff got too involved with his businesses or other people's businesses, or he sees all the governments run, that it's inefficient. That's his perspective. For me, it's a little bit more closer to home, right? From the experiences I've had in my life and stuff like that, from the way I grew up. My life upbringing is way different from his. That's why a lot of people are surprised that people that are the lower scale, lower income. I'm saying I'm lower income. I'm middle class like most people. Um, but when you come from a background where you don't have money and you have to struggle and stuff like that, that stuff was real. Um, People can understand why people identify with them, and it's because you have the same kind of mindset, the same type of principles when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like for me, I look at a lot of the fraud and abuse, and I sit there and I say, "Wow, dude, if you just would fix that, that'd be better for everybody." Right? You shouldn't be playing favorites, right? You shouldn't be letting your ideology run on either side, right or left, right? You should be doing what's good for the public, what for the populace as large as a whole, for the American citizens. But on the flip side of that, dude, a lot of people that are coming into government service are not um, they're not pro-American, and that's why you have these conflicts of interest. This is why you have a lot of problems. This is why when certain things happen, like you have two natural disasters that people need relief, they get $750 from the government, and then meanwhile the government's sending all the money overseas, which people don't understand at the very base level, right? And when you listen to these guys trying to explain it, it still doesn't make any sense, right? The purpose of the federal government is to take care of its own people, its own citizenry, right? And then when you see them treating the citizenry badly, yet people who come over illegally, right, they're getting all these benefits, right? And they were doing this for a long time, dude. This has been their modus operandi, and I'm talking to people on the left and the Democratic Party. This has been their modus operandi for 2 decades at least, right? Because again, man, a lot of the people that are on the left, a lot of the people that are in the Democratic Party now, they're not that Democratic Party of my parents. And my parents are very hardcore Democrats. They'll always be Democrats, and a lot of it is local too, like where you live. I live in a state that's deep blue, um, and this is why you have these swing state things, right? Where a lot of people don't understand that when you have Ohio and Pennsylvania, I mean, they're switched. All right, guys, sorry, hold on. Sorry about the noise, guys. I tried to mitigate it as much as possible. It's gonna be a little bit hard, but just getting back to what I'm saying. But this is why you have the same states, and this is why a lot of people are frustrated on election night, looking at why can't these people just see, you know what, regardless of what side you're on, see their point of view. It's because again, all politics are local. What applies to you in your state, like Hawaii, is definitely a different state. We have a lot of different issues outside of what a lot of people, a lot of states in the mainland have, right? And I experience that all the time. Like when tourists come here and they're shocked about how much stuff costs here, right? You know, because it's one thing, and even to be in a tourist area, you know you're going to get overcharged for stuff. But the charge of goods and services here is so high that it gives people pause. You know what I'm saying? That's why some people, they're happy. Like maybe you'll get a cheap plane fare, or maybe you win a trip to Hawaii. But once we get you here, dude, you got to deal with the cost of everything, right? And it factors all into the way that government runs the state. I mean, I'm just going to be be perfectly honest with you guys. You're subsidizing a lot of the mistakes that the local government does if you're a tourist there, because the citizenship in this state does the same thing, right? And I hate to say it, I don't think it's ever going to change here, which is sad, right? Because this place could be so much better. In fact, we had a Republican governor when I first moved back to Hawaii. We had a Republican governor, man. She was awesome. She was a great governor. She did a lot of things, especially financially, for the state. And the state was in a mess before I got in here. Things were pretty bad, and then she turned it around. But again, this is a deep blue state, so everything was going good, and it went right back to the same party, to the same people, and now we have so many people that used to live here as local people, right? That are local citizens that have moved out to other states in the mainland because they can't afford it here. So it's a vicious cycle, man. But I'm just telling you that to let you guys understand how this actually works, okay? When it comes to this kind of stuff. But getting back to Pete, yeah, I mean, awesome answer. That's something that I agree with 100%. You know, you got to be about the war fighters. You have to have a warfighter mentality. You have to be about about your troops, especially the guys downhill, especially the guys downfield, especially the guys like in the fleet. Like when I was in the Navy, dude, there was two people. Like I was more on the admin side of things, and me at the actual fleet, the people that was out there on the ships, and all of that stuff matters. It really does. And having somebody, it's just like in any job. Did you have somebody that not only understands the military, but somebody that well, let me find this guy. Not just understands the military, but somebody that that's been there, done that. That's how businesses were run in the U.S. a long time ago, dude. You didn't have to have a college degree to get an executive position. A lot of your executive positions were filled by people who worked their way up through organizations, and I think we need to get back to that. And in 2016, that's one thing I liked about what Trump was doing, and he put it into action. It was him and his daughter Ivanka. They were doing a lot of programs and supporting a lot of programs that encouraged organizations to do that instead of bringing in somebody. You know, you have people with degrees and stuff like that. But then what they would do, they were promoting people, especially in the blue collar jobs. Like, hey, let's get these guys to. Because when I was growing up, dude, what would happen is you could do an internship or somebody would train you for the position. Because regardless if you have a degree or not, a lot of these people, especially the millennials and Gen Zs, found this is fine. Well, the Gen Zs are finding out now, but the millennials found this out the hard way. Is that you can come into an organization with a degree, but you still got to get training. You still don't have the experience. And in fact, it's become like it's become a wicked cycle, right? Because now a lot of places require you to have a degree and experience, right? So you're shooting yourself in the foot, which is another reason why the economy and businesses are struggling. And the fact that they can't see that just blows my mind. But let me share this other clip for you guys because I love this one. I love this one. This is one of my favorite clips. Let me pause this, dude, and go back.
In other words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
Dude, when you guys hear me, Brad, even the dude next to him, look at his face. looks next to her. Look at his face, dude. Every time I rant about this stuff, dude, this is what I'm talking about. This is the absolute. These people are running the country. People like her, and I'm talking both sides. Both sides have their share of people like her, but the left is the Democrats have the worst, right? This is why you hear all the stuff about DEI hires and stuff like that. I mean, it's becoming a running joke to a sense, but I mean, this is the problem. This is what I say all the time. And if you want to take it to gaming, you can. There's two sides, right? There's guys like us on the Xbox side, then you have the PlayStation guys, right? And the PlayStation guys always get caught in their BS, right? And this is why. A lot of times when, especially with politicians, all you have to do is let them talk because they love to talk and they love to hear themselves and they like to opine and they like to bloviate, right? And they like to, put themselves in moral categories that they shouldn't be because they're some of the most corrupt people in the world, right? But they like to feel like they're just above everybody else, right? And they want to dictate to you and they want to preach to you about the moral standard. But people like that, they're the most flawed people in the world. Trust me, I know. And so what you do is you just keep letting them talk, right? And this is what ends up happening to them. Let me go back a little bit.
Willing to make that same pledge?
Okay, but just to give you guys background if you didn't know, so what she's talking about is a lot of when Pete Hegseth goes in, there's a lot of things you want to change, right? And you hear a lot of people talking about the military-industrial complex. And so what they're talking about is there's like this ancestral relationship between the military now and these big corporations, right? At one point in time, you would think it makes sense, right? Because you have somebody with the experience of the military and the education going in and working for contractors that can help for the betterment of the U.S. and America as a whole, right? But what's happened over time is that money gets involved, power, greed, and all this kind of stuff's happening, right? And then it actually incorporates these guys, like she's talking about what's wrong with that, and probably the reason why she says that is because she's getting donations from these people, right? So that's the problem with the federal government right now, dude. It's just so incestuous, right? All these guys scratch each other's back, quid pro quo. And the funny thing about that is I get training on quid pro quo all the time. Like that's not you're not supposed to do that. I have when I make purchases and stuff like that, dude, we've changed it so much so, which I think is good, right? Because a lot of people are abusing the system when I work. But before, it was documented like who you have to work with as contractors. But if you went outside of the contract, you'd have to have reasons. And when you did that, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's, man. And I actually believe in that. Man, because government should be held accountable. People in those positions should be held accountable. But that's also why I'm for limited government, because it's not for everyday. It's not for the everyday citizenry that's in the U.S., man. It's antithetical to the way most people live their lives, right? And so that's why I believe in limited government. But just to set it up right here, right? She's talking about generals going in the military, then going to Raytheon. What the Trump administration wants to do is like if you have to have a 10-year wait period, right? Because you're going from the military, going into private sector, and there are contractors working with the military, but a lot of these guys have deals. They might have been working on a project, that kind of stuff. Right? This is why the stuff with Ukraine seems so shady. And so this is what they're pushing for. So she's questioning him on that, and why won't he hold himself to the standard? And that was his. And this is his answer.
For 10 years, you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be.
You see your pause. You see the pause. I love the smile on his face and everybody behind, because again, man, when you people like this in your life, dude, they just talk, dude, and they talk so much that stuff like this happens. Right? Again, dude, I'm a gaming channel, man. We deal with this all the time with the ponies, man. It's always like this.
Be the one. Let us just be clear. In charge of the generals.
So, and she instead of stopping and apologizing and said she was wrong or I'm sorry, I misspoke. No, they just keep on flipping around. That's why people hate politicians. Again, both sides do this. Democrats do it the most, and they're egregious with it. I will say that. But that was my favorite clip of the entire. I've been watching all the hearings, guys. I won't go over everything. That's why I wanted to do individual videos, but I didn't have the time. And I feel bad about that because there is one person that I really wanted to focus on, and that's man. But like I said, I have all these clips up here, man, and I lost it. Dude. Oh, there's actually several good clips. Marco Rubio had some good stuff, dude. A lot of people are people would jump on me on the right because I support Marco Rubio. I've always been a supporter of Marco Rubio. A lot of people call me a war hawk. A lot of people call me I forgot what the word of the day is. Hey, hold on one second, guys. Hold on. I hear something. Wait, I'll be right back. Sorry about the pause. Oh, so sorry about that, guys. So I was downstairs, but I'm back. But yeah, so a lot of times I get accused of being a warmonger. What do you call it? Deeps, not deeps, supporting the military-industrial complex. Look, guys. Again, I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and I'm a Republican. Been that way my whole life, man. This isn't something that I woke up to. I didn't take no red pill. Didn't need to. I've been like this my entire life, right? And so when people come at me like that, I'm like, look, you can't bury your head in the sand. Uh, whether you agree or not, America is the superpower and the one and only superpower in the entire world. I was watching a video where the guy, it was a military video, talking about the strength of the military and the strength of the U.S. And in the video, he said even if all the countries got together, they still couldn't match up with the U.S. When it comes to military power, right, and influence. Because a lot of people don't realize this about the military. It's not just about the ships and the people in service. That's a big part of it, but it's also the logistics that we have. And this is stuff that we've learned over 100 years of war fighting, right? It's ingrained in us. It's ingrained in the fabric of every American that was born because of the way this country was founded, right? So whether you like it or not, dude, we are the leaders of the free world, and I trust us over everybody. Sure, we have issues. This election showed a lot of divide, and which I think is good, right? Because a lot of people have been kind of sitting on their morals, and a lot of people woke up, man. You know, Trump won not only the Electoral College, which is what we should always stick with, right? A lot of you guys are out there, no, we should go with the popular vote. Well, to counter your point, he won the popular vote as well. The Electoral College is important, right? Because a lot of states are smaller than other states. Right, you already have problems with the voting election within the electoral college. You switch to the popular vote, it's over, right? Because people will just start buying votes, right? And there's no, and at least with the electoral college, it's kind of similar to our system of government, man. It's all about representation. That's why it's important. And you should look at both, man. But Trump left no stone unturned, man. He won both. Even though in the final hours, man, there's a lot of, late voting and all that kind of crap that they tried to do. It didn't matter. That's how big his win was. Right? Again, and I say this all the time. I get a lot of heat for it. I don't care. He won 2020. They cheated. There's no way he could have won that. Statistically, all the things that he did, there was no way he should have lost that. Right? He outperformed in every category except for the one that mattered, right, which was the overall vote. But if you line up everything that he won, there's no way that should happen. And again, that's more of an analytic perspective, not a political one. It made absolutely no sense to me when I ran the numbers. I was like, dude, no, that's impossible. Anyway, but I don't know. I get that all the time, guys. I get that all the time. And again, for me, it's like, look, dude, you just can't bury your head in the sand. You have to be involved. You have to shape, and it's in our best interest. It's in our best interest to do what we need to do to shape how foreign policy is, what's going on in the world. Because I mean, who else are you going to trust? China? Because the other people that want to supplant us, which is China, right? They're horrible, as everybody's finding out with TikTok right now. And we'll get into TikTok in a minute because I found TikTok absolutely fascinating this week. That's another thing that distracted me. The whole thing around TikTok was amazing to me because there's a lot of stuff going on with TikTok right now that goes beyond just, teens and tweens and all these people that make money on there. Well, especially the younger generation who can't survive without it. That's doing videos of them crying. That's life, right? And I'm not gonna hate on those people. So like what I'm saying, it goes beyond just on the face surface, right? Yes, China does do. It is a backdoor. I see people out there says, are they really doing it or not? Is this a U.S. government conspiracy? I'll agree with you on that. I think there's a lot of there's some of that, but there's definitely China as well. If you're sitting there telling me that China doesn't do these things, dude, you're wrong. You are. You need to do your research. They do for various reasons, man. And again, it's the same thing I say about a lot of foreign entities when it comes to anything across the spectrum, not just politics, but entertainment and popular culture, man. A lot of them look at things differently than the U.S. They don't have the same type of moral standards that we have, right? The moral values we have. You know, a lot of people that are shifting over to TikTok is seeing that firsthand, man. A lot of you guys don't understand that China's communist. Like, I don't have anything against the people. The people are actually pretty amazing. Their culture is amazing as well. A lot of Asian cultures are like that too, but it's the government that you got to worry about. And that's why TikTok needed to be banned. Trust me, man, you get alerts on this stuff all the time. You see it firsthand. A lot of the stuff that they're doing, you see it in the news. All the backdoor stuff, things being attacked constantly, dude. That's all because of this, what they got their hands in. And it's our fault too, man, because we, since the 90s, dude, we're trying to bring them along, hoping that they would become democratic. And those people are stupid. They're still stupid to this day. Some of them are still in the administration. And it took Trump to come in and say, no, we gotta put a stop to this. Dude. You don't tell us what to do, we tell you what to do. We are the top dog. You're not. You want to be the top dog, come and get it. But it's gonna be a fair playing field. And that's the only thing that Trump said in 2016. That's why a lot of people gravitated to him, especially in the blue collar states, man. Our blue collar, our industrial industry, man, got absolutely totally gutted. You see that with Japan. That's why Japan's economy is bad. I remember in the 80s, too, Japan was everything. But a lot of the stuff they made themselves. And that high quality, that workmanship, all that stuff, that pride they take in the stuff that they made, dude, that's why they were able to penetrate our market. Right? Unfortunately for them, they followed what we did, and now, they don't really make the stuff that they used to. They outsource stuff like we do. We outsource stuff. We need to start bringing it back. And I'm not all, I understand a lot of people's talking about how our society's changed and stuff like that. It has. But one thing I know about the country is that when forced into a bad situation, I always rise to the occasion because it's ingrained in us to do so, regardless of how your political affiliation. Especially when things get hard, you have stupid people and stuff like that, but they'll just go away. And then the people that are willing to do the work and step in, we need to bring it back to good. Is my point. Oh, sorry, Fada, dude. I was on the other shit. What's up, brother? Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, dude. We're gonna they're gonna have a big year this year. Faded Blake says Sega. They're gonna have a big year this year, man. Can't wait to see what they do. I think one of the biggest things I love to see is Microsoft buying them. I know people get mad when I say that, dude. I don't care. I'll keep on saying that until I'm blue in the face, man. Faded Blake says, why do I have the feeling that Microsoft is going to benefit from the Trump administration? Yeah. The rumor is, man, that they might pick up TikTok. I'm not saying it's going to happen. You take everything. It's a great take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, right? I don't want everybody to go out there and go nuts. Like I say on my channel, I'll do the disclaimer now, dude. I like talking about this stuff. I like talking about conspiracy theories. I like talking about fandom stuff and things like that, dude. But I'm not saying that I know. I don't have no insider. It's just from what I've been gleaming on the reports online. Some of the stuff I follow is more on an official nature, but it doesn't mean anything in that sense. But that would be amazing. I was talking to Hebot about this last night because we did a podcast yesterday and I forgot to mention it to you guys. But if that would be huge if Microsoft bought them. They tried to buy them in 2020. I would think they're the forerunner for purchasing them. There's some people putting up offers right now. Elon Musk is in the mix. I want to be surprised as Facebook. If you guys didn't know this, dude, all the tech people that hated Trump in 2016 and 2020, they're all at the inauguration and they all donated to his campaign. Right, all the stuff that you've seen with the tech industry, like a lot of people love to hate on Microsoft, right, and say that they're dying. Look at how many people they laid off. In the tech industry, man, hundreds of thousands of people lost their job. And some of it is the nature of the beast, it's the nature of the business, right, and stuff like that. But it was just the economy just totally ravaged the tech industry. And again, the tech industry was very untouchable, man. They were bulletproof for the longest time, and they got a reality check. And a lot of those guys, 90% of the tech industry vote for Democrats. And man, talk about chickens coming home to roost, man. They got taken down. That's why you see certain when you look at some of the layoffs, dude, it's in certain parts of the company, right? Like Elon Musk is a perfect example. He went to Twitter, fired 80% of the staff, and they actually improved, right? Because what he did was he fired all the admin people, and he just kept the engineers, the people that actually do the heavy lifting. And then him being who he is, of course, he has that mantra. So I mean, not that much, but he has that moniker where he can push it himself, man. He's the richest dude. He has the biggest microphone. Is himself, right? And he put himself out there, and he just, and he got involved with the politics, which even skyrocketed. And it became that town hall, that town square that I believe every media outlet should be. If you're on social media, you should allow for everybody to be on there, whether you agree with them or not, dude. That's why I'm not for censorship. Like the censorship I believe in, if I censor myself from you, right? Like like as a Christian, man, if you're over there trying to promote Satanism, demonology, stuff like that, dude, and I don't agree with that, then I'll just remove myself from the situation, right? In some aspects, I think it's important that people understand where people are coming from, so that you yourself can make the determination of what you want to consume or how you want to approach it. And a lot of times for me, with some people, it's just walking away. You see that happening right now with the within the community online, where a lot of these people, because of the DEI stuff, they all kind of team together. Now they're starting to break apart, which doesn't surprise me at all, because philosophically, morally, by standards and principles, all these people have different takes and they disagree. Actually, it's just that they found that one thing to kind of glom on and focus on, which I think is important. And I won't talk. We'll get into that a little later if I have time. But yeah, Faded. I think they totally benefit from this. Again, Satya was number 3 in line, congratulating Trump on the election. And he was there in 2016 as well. A lot of these guys flipped on him on 2020, right? And then we had it good for 4 years. And then the COVID thing was a big hit too. But, you go through 4 years of Biden, man, it woke everybody up. It woke a lot of people up. A lot of people aren't seeing it. I'm one of the few people I know in the gaming community that talks about this stuff, and give my opinions openly. A lot of people don't do that, but I know a lot of people out there that would want to, but maybe for reasons they can't. Like, I don't have a big channel, and I don't monetize this stuff, so that helps. And that's one of the reasons I don't monetize, even from back in the day when I started this channel, man, because I'm a pro Xbox guy. And we was getting all the flack, man, from 2013 all the way up to now. But 2013, those first 4 years after 2013 was brutal, man. When Phil Spencer took over, then things started to get better, which is ironic, right? Because we lost a lot of Xbox guys along the way. I'll never do that, dude. I might change my opinions, dude, but I'll stick it out to the end. That's just the way I am. But yeah, good comment, Faded, man. Thanks for being here, bro. Yeah, I think they're gonna benefit a lot. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen, man. But if a TikTok thing works out, dude, that'd be nuts, right? Because I guess TikTok is back on. Before I came on, I saw it flashing across the news. I was like, I can't focus on this. I gotta get this podcast in. But I see TikTok is back up. Trump talked about it. If you guys remember when he was running for president, man, a lot of his social media, TikTok was one of the biggest ones, not just X, where he was able to connect with people, go bypass the mainstream media, bypass the establishment media, circumvent the deep state, all the stuff they were trying to put up with him, and he just connected directly with the audience. And again, what also helped is the 4 years we went through, where people like, no, this can't be, dude. There's something more to this, and people started actually opening their eyes, opening their ears, and trying to get real about it, dude. When you live in paycheck to paycheck, dude, and you down to your last time, right, and you're trying to figure out, you canceled all your subscriptions, dude. You stopped going out to eat. You're not going to buy new clothes this year, dude. You just, your clothes are fine. You look through your closet. Hey, my clothes are fine. It can last a couple more months. When you start doing stuff like that, dude, when you have a gaming service like Game Pass that's not at 100 million already, that's what Microsoft is shooting for in 2030, dude. They should be 70 million because it's such a good deal. But the economy was so bad, man. People had to count their pennies, and we need to get beyond that. And with him being elected, dude, I feel things are going to get better. So inaugurations today, man. He's going to hit the ground running day one. A lot of people was like, "Oh, it's going to be day one, dude." If he's saying that, you don't know this man. He's been chomping at the bit. He's doing stuff behind the scenes, as you guys can see. They brokered a peace deal. I know there was some thing going on with Israel and Gaza and stuff like that, but it looks like it went through. A couple hostages, some of the hostages got released, man. I'm kind of worried about that because I think a lot of them were killed, and that's sad, right? But all the stuff that he does, man, when he does something, dude, things move. Right, the news totally changes focus, man. You have some of these liberal guys out there in media. They're like, "Oh, we're going to be gone," and stuff like that. No, they ain't, dude. You guys will be reporting on it, dude. He brought them so much business from 2016 to 2020. Dude, these guys grew because a lot of people were like sitting there going, "Oh, he's a rapist. He likes to grab women by their punanis. He likes to do all this kind of stuff, right?" And lo and behold, what happened? Right, their numbers grew. And it's some impact. It had an impact on the 2020 election. right? And sometimes, look, dude, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes you need to go through hard times, and that's what we did for the last 4 years. I mean, I didn't need it, but a lot of people did, and that's why he won the biggest election. But sorry, Fade, I'm rambling. I think Microsoft will be a little bit more like, look, dude, if they bought something like TikTok, if they have the ability to buy TikTok, it's estimated that the worth of TikTok is 100 billion. Is it 100 billion, right? I think that's what I read, 100 billion. There's very few companies that could do that. There's a whole reason why Microsoft was able to buy AKB, right? And then again, when we deal with these guys online, they're like, hey, you know what, Microsoft can't afford this, or they're going to shut down the Xbox division. It's not profitable. It's doing horrible. Have no clue, dude, of what Microsoft is able to do, right? And I say Microsoft because that's the proper. It's them. It's not. It's the Xbox is their brand, but it's Microsoft that does all the heavy lifting for them now, right? And we have to acknowledge that, even as Xbox guys. And there's good and bad that's going to come with that, right? As we've seen over the last couple of years, but. And I mean mostly in narrative, not really in services or what they give us, dude. It's been. I mean, if you put all the noise aside, dude, and you're a gamer, dude, Xbox is where you need to be. In the ecosystem actually is where you need to be, right? If you play it on PC, you're gonna hook it up on a Fire Stick, on some TV somewhere, man. Mobile, their cloud has gotten way better. I can speak to that. People that use the cloud way more. I love to see when I did my final report card at the end of the year, my stuff went up. Right now, I love that, and so yeah, dude. I mean, this is where gaming's at right now, dude. And then look, man. Shout out to my brother Zoe. Dude. I didn't watch his video yet. But he was saying how the Switch 2 is going to kill Sony and Xbox. So I want to watch it, dude. Love you, Zobi, man. I already tell by the title that I want to disagree with you, but I always watch your stuff. But as far as Xbox is concerned, dude, I see nothing but upside with them. So that's what we got. Fitted Blaze hot take. If AC flops, I think Microsoft is going to purchase them. Yeah, well, Unlimited Productions, man, would love to see that happening. He loves Assassin's Creed. there's all kind of things circulating about that they're actually trying to tank it now to drop the price down so that they can buy it. And look, dude, I feel for them, dude. I think you should make the game that you want to make. If I don't agree with the way that your take on the game or whatever, dude, I just don't participate in it. I won't support it. I'll do the consumer thing, man. Consumer conscious things, right? But they have a lot of stuff, man, that they shot themselves in the foot at. I'm being honest with you, man. It's one thing if you have the people that are just trying to get drama up the drama, and people who want to piggyback off of it. We know that as Xbox guys, people just want to get clicks and views and stuff like that. But they actually had some legit criticism that they should have addressed. In fact, I'm going to play a video. I'll play this video now. We'll kind of shift gears because there's a pop culture podcast, and there's a great video that came out that I wanted to show you guys, man. It was absolutely awesome. It's dealing more with the Evolve situation. I know a lot of you guys are like, hey, man, Evolve's next month. Why hasn't Microsoft been pushing it? Well, if you guys understood what happened a couple months ago with one of the art director on Evolve, dude, he said some commentary and stuff like that on social media page. It blew up. Right, how that's going to affect the game, I don't know. It's obvious that they have a certain take on gender and pronouns, which I don't agree with personally. Luckily, the game's in Game Pass. I'm going to play it, see how it is, let you guys know, give you guys my thoughts and opinion from both an Xbox perspective as well as a political perspective, a cultural perspective, right? But I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm looking forward to the game. I hope I can play it. For the most part, I've not been able to play Outer Worlds. For the same reason I can't play Doom Eternal, right? It's just something about the camera, man, that makes me nauseous, and I can't play. I don't know what it is. I watched my daughter play it or try to. Even watching her play, I would get a little bit nauseous. But she beat the game, and I talked to her about it. It sounds like an awesome game. I highly recommend. But if you have problems like I have, I don't know if it's my age. I've gone to the ER, man, for bouts of vertigo. So it's probably something with me because I'm older. Well, getting old sucks, guys. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Get in the right frame of mind because it happens to all of us, dude. But yeah, I'll play that next because I think it's important. But as far as the hearings is concerned, man, look, there's a guy that I wanted to. If you get a chance, man, I highly recommend. If you're really interested, and I think you should be, because this stuff matters, dude. I know it's not for everybody, and I'm kind of an outlier because I find this stuff interesting, which most people think is absolutely psychotic. On both sides, dude. And I get it, dude. I get it. It's just fascinating to me But one of the people, and I'll try and share a clip because I couldn't find the clip that I wanted to, but I really do want to put this out there. And again, I should have done an individual. I should have done this individually, but I just didn't have the time because I was doing this. I'll be honest with you. This guy right here, Bassett, and I will just play this right here because I couldn't find the clip I was trying to find. I'll be honest with you.
I would respectfully disagree.
Here.
I believe.
So let me set this up for you real quick, guys. Am I on full screen? Yeah. So this dude will be the new oh, wait, hold on, where is it? ARG, I can't find it. Anyway, I can't find it, so we'll just play this clip and then we'll talk about it after.
I believe these tariffs, you can call it whatever you want in terms of trying to gussy it up. They're going to be paid for by our workers and small businesses. And all through the campaign, we heard they weren't, that foreign countries were going to pay it. I think that's baloney. It's going to be paid for by workers and small business.
You know, the great thing about the tariffs that nobody talks about, something that I see, is that we need to get back to actually buying more American, producing more stuff. And I think one of the reasons why people start doing that is because regardless of where we're getting our stuff, right? You can save on some things, but for the most part, if you're saving as far as money, the quality is trash. We're paying out the nose already, and overall, this could benefit our country, man. If the President Trump wants to rely on tariffs, dude, if he cuts the income tax or just gets rid of the IRS, and look at it that way. Now, there's some issues that might pop up from that, dude, but the financial freedom on that is what I'm looking at. And absolutely 100%, dude. We are the biggest economy in the world, dude. We shouldn't be subsidizing other countries, dude. We should at least get us on a fair playing field. And if you're not going to do that, like some of these countries are threatening Trump right now, dude, about what they're going to do. And I'm like, dude, roll the dice, dude. I'm already paying $10 for eggs. I had to buy eggs the other day. It was like $10 for a carton of 12. That's what a lot of people have been doing online. They're like, oh, Trump won the election. Why is the price go down? You know, those are the ignorant people. These are people that's the problem in the U.S. This is why the rest of us is suffering because you got idiots like that, right? You know, the dude that hasn't taken office yet, dude. But when he takes the office, man, watch tomorrow, dude. You guys tune in tomorrow and see all those executive orders coming flying in, right? But it is going to take some time. But we're all numb to it. That's the problem too with the economy, man. We become numb to it, dude. Like for some of these industries, like the tech guys are all there, entertainment industry, even though they don't want to admit it, man, they're hurting as well. And they want the economy to get better and they want a piece of the action, right? Because it's their livelihood being threatened, man. It's their businesses going under, right? The sad thing about what they're not calculating is that you've conditioned people not to spend money. You've conditioned people to be prudent and to be frugal. And you see that happening online all the time, but what people are doing. Right, China's going through the same thing, man. Their economy is so bad over there that people are not buying, and that's something that's bad for them. Right? They introduce capitalism, people bid into it, and you know they're not even really bad on their capitalism as far as the way they spend money because they've always come from a thing about not spending money. They've been frugal from the jump, right? But Americans are going back to those classic days we used to be in the country, man, where people are like, oh, do I really need that? What am I getting? What is the value from this? Oh, sure, I enjoy this. I'll use it to the point where like, okay, that might be something I really want or really need, but what do I need? Really, like, how is this going to affect? Like, people are actually doing that because they have to, right? And that's the thing. These guys had it so good, man. They had it so good. But sometimes you need to reset the system, and a lot of people realize, hey, you know what? This is not necessary. You know, I'm not going to die if I don't have a video game console, video game system. I'm not going to die if I can't buy DVDs. Right. This is why it's putting emphasis again. I hope Microsoft is paying attention to this. It's putting emphasis on the people that do enjoy this hobby and do enjoy playing games and collecting and stuff like that. Right. That niche gamer, that hardcore niche gamer, man. That's who you got to rely on. And I hope they never lose sight of that. Right. Because it is important. Right. And but again, to their devastation, they've done that to themselves.
Businesses. So your response?
Yes. Senator, I would respectfully disagree. And the history of tariffs and tariff theory, optimal tariff theory, does not support what you're saying. Traditionally, we see that the current, if we were to say use a number that has been thrown around in the press of 10%, then traditionally the currency appreciates by 4%. So the 10% is not passed through. Then we have various elasticities, consumer preferences may change. And finally, foreign manufacturers, especially China, which is trying to export their way out of their current economic malaise.
Yeah, so what they're doing is we have tariffs on China and they're building factories in Mexico because everybody's shifting, right? All the companies are shifting, especially when and this has been happening a while before all this stuff too, man, because these businesses would go to China and they realize what China was doing. Again, to bring up TikTok, right? China puts their fingers in everything, right? And America gets accused. We have our way of doing it, but China goes extra, bro. China goes all in. And I'm not, look, dude, I can't blame them. They're communists, dude. CCP, everything's about the state, about the government. If you ever look at the CCP, when they have their gathering, dude, you have Xi Jinping as the president and then all his underlings. It's actually kind of funny. Like, I mean, for some of you, it'll be scary, and it should be, right? It's authoritarian at its core. So when if you're a business and you went over there, sometimes they'd welcome you, and they would welcome you and not do what they do to other countries, like do the stuff where you have to work with us. You know, everything is state run, everything's state subsidy. But they would welcome you in because they want something from you, right? So like if you're the movie industry and you go over there, they want to learn from you. But once they do that, right, then they start doing their little stuff where they're going to put their industries above, right? Because that's how they generate their money. But because they're communists, right, they don't understand how free market works and capitalism works. Or they do understand and they hate it because it's a threat to them, right? Because if you're communist, right, the state is all. So state control. You know, that's why Xi Jinping declared himself president for life, right? When they had their one elections. There is no elections in that government, right? And some of the morons here and some of them on Capitol Hill was like, oh, we need to do that. Freaking stupid, right? I mean, so anyway, right now they're suffering from that, right? Because yeah, Trump come in, he did the tariffs. Even Biden did some of the tariffs. Probably the only good thing he did. But that's probably based on his racist past. If I'm being honest, dude. A lot of you guys sit there that support him, man. Like people of color support him. This dude, one of the most racist dudes that to ever live, man. One of the most horriblest guys in the face of the earth, man. And you guys are supporting him. It blew my mind. But it's funny, right? Because he actually kept the tariffs on them, and that's why China was hurting. So a lot of businesses, they were course correcting even before that, right? They were moving to like Vietnam, Malaysia, and then the biggest one is Mexico, right? That's why the president was kind of talking. The president of Mexico was kind of snapping back at Trump, but then he put the whammy on her, and she kind of course corrected. But a lot of our factories that were building up there, and look, dude, Mexico has a skilled workforce. Right. There's Mexico has their issues and stuff like that, but they have a skilled workforce, and you have people that are hungry for jobs. Right. There are competitors, and so what China did to bypass the tariffs is they built factories in Mexico. Right. And this is why I'll probably try and share it on this podcast. So China Observer is one of my favorite places to go to. It has a little bit of a slant on it, but it's really cool because they actually show a lot of the stuff that's happening, and it's happening in real time. That's why I like it. Right, and they're not. You can tell they're not attached to the CCP because a lot of people that post from there has to be associated with the CCP, or else they get shut down.
They will continue cutting prices to maintain market share.
Stop that! I'm having so much problem. But I mean, if you get a chance, go look at this cabinet picks, man. It's worthy, man. Do it on X. If you have X, definitely go watch it because people will clip it for you. You don't have to go and watch the full video, though I do that, which is why I didn't do the videos like I should have. But I'm trying to find the one. Yeah, see, this is when he was just in Iran. See, this is what people who are competent in positions should sound like and look like, is these people. Right, you can tell they have command of what's going on geopolitically. They have command of their areas of expertise where they occupy. Right, I showed you clips of Pete Hegseth. Pam Bondi is another one. I've known about her for the longest time. You guys know I used to live in Florida, so I grew up with their Governor Bob Martinez and stuff like that. I still kind of keep up with politics there. But Pam Bondi is a real deal, man. She worked for Trump in his first administration. She is, dude. And if you look at her, dude, I couldn't believe. I just found out she was 60 years old, man. She absolutely looks totally not 60. Yeah, so he's talking about how China hacked the U.S. Treasury Department. Again, TikTok. This is why TikTok matters. I'm not saying that TikTok was the reason why, but that's they use every tool available to get the one up on us. Is this the one? I think this is the one I wanted to share with you guys. I'll play it real quick, guys. Hold on.
I agree with you that opening markets is good, but the free trade must be also balanced against fair trade. And clearly what has happened is the trade has not been fair. That has fallen on the American workers.
Yeah.
And we cannot allow, as I think I mentioned to you, China is the most unbalanced economy in the history of the world. They are in a severe recession/depression. They may have -4% disinflation, and they are attempting to export their way out of that as opposed to doing the much needed internal rebalance. I agree with you.
Yeah, they won't be doing that rebalance because they're communists. Capitalism is just a means to that. They want to supplant the U.S. A lot of that money they used to build their military, which is ironic because they still are nowhere close. They're the only country that comes close to us, but they're like hundreds of billions of dollars away from the amount of money we spend on the military. Here, I'll play one last one because this one's pretty good. They're all good, dude. I'm sorry, they're all good. But again, if you get a chance, in your best interest, dude. Especially if you like politics, but even if you don't.
I believe that President Trump, and if confirmed myself, are committed to addressing this affordability crisis. And part of the affordability crisis stems from this great inflation that we've had since 2020. It was nascent in 2021. It occurred in 22, 23. We are still substantially above target. My hope is that we will not see it accelerating again. And inflation is one of the great killers for working families. As we talked about in your office, the CPI or PCE, the statistical numbers, may be up about 22% under the previous administration, but the basket of goods and services for working families. So getting inflation down, getting interest rates down, and addressing this affordability crisis.
And so
yeah, I'm gonna have to stop there, guys, because I could go all day on that stuff. It's so interesting. And again, man, this is the type of people you need in these positions that understand what's going on. And if you're just looking at R's and D's by people's names, you're missing out. You really need to do the deep dive, trust me, because it affects you. And you'll notice that day one when he takes office. People that were crying on TikTok, man. I'll kind of shift to TikTok right now. And we'll cover it. And then we'll go to the Xbox stuff. But just really quickly, dude, a lot of people are losing their minds about it. But also, if you guys didn't know, like I said earlier, I believe President Trump said, like that's one of the biggest reasons he feels that was a big reason why he won the election, right? A lot of, and it's his son, dude. His son, Barron. Trump was telling him to go on these podcasts and to meet these people that are influencers, and he did that. And it's a good thing he listened to his son because, nobody really watches the media anymore, which is why you kind of have the shift you did. And I think it's important, right, for people to get all kind of sources. But President Trump did that, dude, and it paid in spades for him. And one of his biggest supporting avenues was TikTok, right? And TikTok, in and of itself, dude, I think it's good. It can be used for good, just like any other platform. Like X is another one. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil, right? But I mean, there's things that they can do to get TikTok within standards. So selling it to an American company is definitely one of them. Right? Again, guys, I look at security stuff all the time, dude. It is a big issue that we have with China. So when you see certain grids getting attacked and all this kind of stuff, it's all formulated from them doing what they need to do, right? Because where we look at them as just kind of offset, sometimes allies, sometimes off again, on again relationship. They're looking to supplant us, and their every working moment, right? Because it's all from the government top all the way down, is for them to supplant the U.S. And you don't want that, guys. You don't. You see how they run their own house? It's not good. Right? Everything's about the party. You think things are bad in the U.S. now, man? You get a communist party in control, whether it's Russia or China or any type of those governments, and I don't think they can. One of the reasons, that's why I say they're a paper tiger. You have to keep track of them. You have to take them seriously. Some of the stuff people say about China is just so off, dude. They have a lot of internal issues that they have to stabilize even before they think they're going to take the mantra. Dude, they're military. They've never been in a wartime situation. We had to support them in World War II when Japan was running roughshod all over Asia. But they've never had that type of thing. I mean, they put up a good show, right? They do their marching and their all their stuff like that. I'm not saying they haven't improved, but on the level, it's just more than technology and numbers, right? And one of the reasons why the U.S. is where they are is because we're lethal in everything we do, right? This is again why I'm a big fan of Pete Hegseth, man, because I think we've lost the way, and we need to get back to that. Dude. I'll put the U.S. military against anybody on this planet. Still to this day, with all the issues we're having in there, man, a lot of these Democrats and a lot of these liberals have tried to turn the military into a social experiment. Like Bill Burr has a really good bit about that when you see what they've been trying to do to sports, right? When they have the breast cancer awareness in football. Same thing in video games, man, where you just want to enjoy a fantasy game, dude, and somebody's throwing out pronouns, right? It's just like, again, it just breaks the just this one thing alone, dude. It breaks the suspension of belief for me. Right, I already gotta believe in like unicorns and wizards and all this crap, right? And so, right, and then you throw in a wizard that has a bit against Donald Trump because he doesn't have the right pronouns. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. That totally, I'm done. I step away, right? But it's something that people need to understand, man. You need competent people in these positions because they make decisions that affect you. Now, the best thing, again, I'll take it back to this, that would help with this is to get people out of these, like not to depend on government so much. That would be the actual 100% thing to do. Get rid of all these organizations. We'll see, man. Like, I'm hyped for 2025, man, across the board. Across the board. Before TikTok, getting back to TikTok, I believe it's back on. Sorry, I was coming on live and I get to get all the full information on it. Maybe I'll do a quick. Here, actually, wait, when did this drop? It's okay. This got a little bit of a political tinge to it, though. When did you put this out? Donald J. Trump. I'm asking companies not to let TikTok stay dark. I will issue an executive order on Monday. Okay, there you go. To extend the period of time before the law's prohibitions take effect so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. The order will also confirm that there will be no liability for any company that helped keep TikTok from going dark before my order. Dude, see? What is that? Sorry, guys. Americans deserve to see our exciting inauguration on Monday as well as other events and conversations. Okay. So I know Monday that he was going to, people were saying he's going to do an executive order. Now you can see that's going to happen. But what the interesting to me is who's going to be purchasing it. There's a reason, dude. Bezos and all these dudes are in Washington. Dude. Even Bill Gates met with them. And you guys know how I feel about Bill Gates. But man, respect to you and what you did with Microsoft, in a sense, and of course with the Xbox. But man, other than that, dude, he needs to chill, bro. I'm not eating bugs, bro. And you should stop buying farmland, using your money to push your agenda, bro. Tell Phil Spencer, come get your boy, man, or Satya. Hey, Satya, give him an office in Microsoft, man. Have him work on AI or something. This dude is trying to social engineer crap, man. But all these guys are meeting with them, man, for various reasons, dude. And that's one of them, dude. A lot of them, I love to see that in real time. I'd love to see how they would do that. How that bidding and that process of it. And again, dude, you guys know I'm a pro Xbox channel, dude. So if Microsoft bought TikTok, dude, I'll be going ham online. I'll be doing videos, man. Me and Hebot will be on here, dude, because I've been talking to Hebot about it and Sigman too, or any of the crew could come on here and do. But I mean, for the one reason, of course, Xbox has been getting grilled about them closing again, and Xbox is there for the 1,000th time. And so something like this happens, man. It'll shut a lot of people up. If you guys didn't listen to the podcast the other day, we touched on it a little bit, all the drama that was going on, man. And then Microsoft actually did the right thing and came out and addressed it, which they should do that more for not just their fan base, but their consumers, man. Look, it matters, dude. That the narrative is killing them. And so, but then the big one was when Shuhei Yoshida had an interview, and I don't really follow PlayStation stuff, man, but people clicked it. I watched it. Shout out to King David, man. He's the guy that I watched it off of. Go check his channel out. Go subscribe to him. And he took the parts that mattered and he put it on there. Because when I looked at it, I was going to run it on the channel, try and find it. That thing was like 2 hours long. I didn't know that was that long. But basically, Shuhei spilled the beans on everything. Guys like me and Hebot and Sega Man have been gaming forever. E-Rock, all of us knew about it because we're old, and we were there when it happened, right? So we knew about this stuff from the jump. Man, I knew all the stuff Sony was doing. I was a Sony guy back in the day, right? A Sony brand guy. Right? I love their electronics, especially. So I see all the stuff that they're doing. But for TikTok, man, look, let's keep it copacetic, man. We'll see what happens. But as of now, right, I believe it's up. Yeah, I believe it's up. And I think look, there's, I'll probably do a separate article. You know what? I'll do a separate video on that because there's this one video that I watched and this guy had a masterful take. In fact, there's two videos, but if I run both of them, I definitely would have to do a separate one. But they had masterful takes on it. It's something that I believe in, right? Because what China tries to do, a lot of this stuff, they catfish you with the stuff that they're doing, right? Like they have a bunch of people right now going over to what is it called? Little Red Book or Red Note. I say Little Red Book because it's kind of tribute to the communist revolution, right, in China that killed millions of people. But there's a lot of people from the U.S. going over there, right? And they're so mad that TikTok got shut down to show their protest, right? They're calling themselves refugees of TikTok from America. They're going over to China, and it's causing all kind of it's causing this whole. Dude, it's amazing to me. I find it absolutely amazing. There's all this stuff going on because now you have a whole 700,000 people downloaded the app and they were on there day one, or maybe not 700,000, but it got up to 700,000, probably more now, and they just kind of totally flooded China's social media, right, to the point where the Chinese like, what is going on? And the funny thing about that is because it was so much people and it flooded the internet. It's what China likes to do to us. We're basically doing it back to them without the irritable intent, right? You have a lot of these guys that's their protest votes against what's happening with TikTok. It's one of the reasons why Trump won, man. I know a lot of the people voted for him because they expected him to keep it open, and so which ironically he tried to shut it down in 20. But it's such an influx of Americans going over there and talking about all kind of stuff, and now the Chinese are getting full blast. It's just like you stick your hose on a fire, you stand in front of a fire hose and they open it up full blast and they send you flying. That's what happened in China right now, and they're populous because they're getting the full brunt of it. Right, they're getting it 100% unadulterated, uncut, man, pure 100%. Basically, democracy shoving in their face, and there's all kind of stuff going on. There's all kind of things. Being said, a lot of it is positive from what I've seen. Some of it is some people consider negative. I think it's all positive, right? For example, somebody shared a video where it said this guy from China, all these people are coming in, and because the way our media is here and how we view things on sexuality, things on gender, things on representation, and all this information. There's people there that are pushing back because they don't believe in that, and they're telling them as much. But the other thing is like they're teaching each other how to speak each other's languages. And then that's the scary part. They're sharing information. So the Chinese government right now, they're getting a taste of their own medicine, and they're cracking down on them to make sure that a lot of the stuff that's being said is getting filtered, because that's what they do in China, right? In fact, a lot of the Chinese users for the app was like, how are these people getting in there? Because we have a firewall. They can't get out, right? They have to find ways to get out. But people try to do that, right? But if they do, and if you get caught, right, you face, they have their own set of laws and stuff like that. But then all these people are coming in and they're flooding it, and they can't. It's hard for them to filter it, dude. And they're doing their best to do that. So for me, this is what I would like to see with TikTok. If when we got, they do that to us, we can do that to them. Again, man, I'm a product of the Cold War, dude. My first president that I recognized because I grew up in that era was Ronald Reagan, and he knew this better than most. Right? And it's the reason why we won the Cold War. It wasn't just about the military strength, which was very important. He built up a military, right? He had a show of force and stuff like that, but it was also our culture. American culture, Western culture is very, very unique, man. It can be good and it can be bad. It can be detrimental, right? It's like a cure that you take that could either save your life or kill you, right? And when we've used it, what I feel in the right way, it's helped to topple governments, and it's helped to build up Western civilization even more. I talk about Reagan. I love Reagan. He's my favorite president of all time, and because I saw him in action, it was during my formidable years, and I saw somebody with the leadership, and definitely different from Trump, right? He had more of a he killed him with kindness type of thing, but he knew how to do it. He had the skills to do that. Nothing against Trump. He's just different. He just built different. It can't be the same. But when I saw what he did, man, and then but he used to show force. But the reason I knew the Cold War was over is I remember watching a TV program and Metallica played the Red Square, and when Metallica played the Red Square, I knew it was over for Russia. Right? You had a country with definitely that's more communist. They were definitely more hardcore communists at the time. Man, their society is way different, and they got introduced to capitalism. Since McDonald's, blue jeans. Right? These guys are just blown away by blue jeans. They're blown away by the fact that you could get blue jeans, and then in America we have blue jeans that were perfectly normal blue jeans, and that people would buy and then rip them. Right? Because that was the style at the time, and that would totally blow their minds. Like, why are they ripping these jeans? Right? They buy the jeans, but then they rip it. Right? When you live in a country and you don't get that type of freedom, that's what they got exposed to, right? And for me, man, that was the big sign. When Metallica played the Red Square, dude, I knew it was over. I knew it was really over, right? And what you're seeing right now is happening. If you guys want to check out history in the making, man, go see all this stuff with TikTok. I know, dude, TikTok is considered a joke by a lot of people and stuff like that, but do the deep dive, man. There's a lot of politics behind it. There's a lot of culture going on behind this kind of stuff. Did you basically get right now? This is probably the closest thing we'll get to the Berlin Wall, Berlin Wall 2.0. Right? It's you actually see the actual Great Firewall, they call it in China, man, actually coming down, bits and pieces of it getting destroyed. Right? And it's good for the Americans too, man, because Americans, man, they don't realize how good they have it here in this country, man. So they're learning some things out, finding some things out from the Chinese as well. And they're getting pushed back. Like I said with that video, man, these guys are like, some of the TikTok guys are kind of like, oh man, these guys are anti-LGBTQ. I'm like, yeah, most people are, dude. It's only in this country because you have the freedom to express yourself, and you browbeat a lot of people. I'll talk about this a little bit later on. Like we're gonna bring back the satanic panic because I want to talk about that. Man. There's some influencers online that are getting browbeaten right now about it, and I want to get my 2 cents on it because I actually experienced this in real time. Some of these dudes are younger, but I was there in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, especially, man, as a Christian spreading the gospel. It was tough. It was tough, man. A lot of people didn't want to hear the gospel. They let you know, and you were berated. But again, I'm a Christian, right? We didn't have it as bad as the early church or the apostles, right? Who all of them were killed, except for John. And God had a purpose for John. This is why you have the Book of Revelation, right? But a lot of people professing to be Christians on there, and I get it, dude. Nobody likes to be downer. A lot of us are call us improved and stuff like that. For me personally, when it comes to my Christianity and stuff like that, one thing I fall back on the First Amendment, dude, because it's used against me, and I like to use it for myself. I weaponize it myself, dude. I have my opinion. I'm going to voice it. You can have your opinion. You can voice it. But if you try and shut me down, that's why I don't like the DEI stuff. That's what they try to do. They weaponized it. But it's not about equality, dude. It was about them using it as a battering ram to run their opinions through you. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen at all for me. But as a Christian, you see that going on right now too, right? Is where people online are sharing their Christian beliefs. And then you have, because things have changed, with the DEI is definitely on the ropes. Hopefully it dies. And then you have a lot of these guys have opinions, and now they're kind of going against each other, which is not surprising, guys. I mean, if you look even in the MAGA movement, right, a lot of the stuff that's going on, most of these people do not agree on anything. That's why I call it the Big Tent, right? Usually the Republican and conservative side usually is there were just a few groups in there, and they would debate each other, right? But what you have a lot of liberals in there, libertarians. You have non-political people. You have over-political people, right? You have far leftists that have come in, right? You think they're not all going to get along. It's actually a perfect example of what America is, unlike other countries. A lot of other countries are monolithic in their culture because they're one culture and one mindset. America is definitely not that. That's why, again, I say all the time, e pluribus unum, out of many one, dude. That's our weakness. Diversity is not our strength, dude. It's actually our weakness. Diversity is good, but it's also something that we got to look at and basically take care of, right? Because it can go too far afield. And that's what you've been experiencing the last 10 years, especially in the last 4, right? And for me personally, man, I as a person who's on social media, that's a participating in pop culture, look, dude, if I don't like something, I'll speak for myself. If there's something that offends me, dude, I step away. I said that earlier in the podcast, and I'm 100% about that. I talk about anime all the time. I was trying to watch this one anime on Netflix that everybody recommended, and I started watching them, and I didn't like it, dude, just because some of the fan service, right? Now, for me, I can do a review on it and explain that. I'm telling you about it now. Why? Because people are going to ask me, hey, I thought did you watch the anime? Did you like it? Then I'll tell them straight up, like, nah, dude, I don't like the fan service stuff in there. Right? There's a scene in there where the girl, she's a teenager, man. They got her all hemmed up. panties all over the place, stuff like that. I'm like, look, dude, I have a little daughter. I don't watch that. It's one of the reasons I started watching anime, man. It's because my kids started watching it, and I don't want them watching that stuff. And the reason I found out about it because I started watching it, and then my daughter said something to me about it. Like she's like, "Oh, I don't know if you're gonna like it, Dad." And then next episode they showed it, and I was like, and I was all in on it, man, because I thought it was gonna go in from a point of what I'm looking at right now, where they talk aliens, demons, all this kind of stuff, right? I'm in that. I'm looking at that stuff right now. But it didn't go that route. I thought it was, and then it went to this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit too far afield for me, man. Some of the Sega games, right? Some of the stuff that I like to do. But what I do is when I don't like it, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. If it's bad, then I don't support the company, right? And not just political, man. I mean, I'm talking about my own principles and morals, right? And what I feel like, if somebody asks me, I'm going to be 100% honest, too. But when you're doing that for the last couple of years, you're trying to get canceled. You call it a bigot, you call it racist. I was called Nazis. I don't know how many times, even though I'm a brown dude from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right? All of that stuff. And I got tired of that stuff. I'm like, no, dude, because what it is you just want to shut down what I want to say, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I don't care if you don't like it, bro. Step, right? I will do the same thing, dude. I'm not going to try and cancel you either, man. So we just disagree. That's why a lot of the people I kind of around, man, we don't agree on everything. That's life. That's how it is, right? But it's interesting, man. A lot of times when a movement coalesces together, especially when it's political, or if a single issue thing, right? Once that's over, dude, that's you'll find people kind of fight with each other, right? Because they're very opinionated, they have certain stances on stuff. That's natural. There's people that I followed in the beginning that I don't follow anymore, man. When it comes to conservatism, and I consider myself a conservative, right? These people purported themselves to be conservative. To me, they're not. They either jumped on the bandwagon or talked about it. I'll say straight up, man. Candace Owens, dude, I used to like her. Don't. I mean, I'll say I like listening to her and stuff like that. She makes some good points. Even back then, looking back, she's kind of all over the place, man. And even people on the left would point that out to me, and I was like, yeah, okay, but I'll see what she says. Right? Anybody got the freedom to speak? Like even now, I won't try and shut her down. She came to Hawaii and did a conference that everybody liked. But you know, now where she is now, her stance on Israel and all this kind of stuff, dude, I can't hang with that stuff, dude. Like now. Wish you all the best, man, but I'm out. So you got that stuff going on. But anyway, let me get back to the next topic I want to talk about, which is, hold on, let me check the stream. Sorry, guys, I'm on another thing. What's Big B Money? What's up, Xbox on Top Chat? The show out on Thursday. Everybody, Xbox got a ton of games. Yeah, dude. Hey, what's up, B Money? Thanks, man. Yeah, we good, bro. We good, man. 2025 is going to be huge, man. Just like Faded was saying, dude, I can't wait to see what we got. I mean, my next most anticipated game is South of Midnight. I've been saying that for the longest time. I said that from the jump when they first announced it. My background with the developer Compulsion, man. My daughter played We Happy Few, watched her play it. An amazing game. Bought the soundtrack. It was awesome. So I expect big things from them. And then they're touching on something that I grew up with, man. That's Southern mythology. I love mythology, guys. I don't worship at the altar of mythology like some people do, but I mean, as far as mythology is concerned, man, just the overall epicness of it. And then so they're going to bring that out from the South, man. There's all kind of stories from the South, too. Like I said, I grew up in the South. And they have their own stories and stuff like that. Just like in Hawaii, dude. In Hawaii, we have our own legends and stories, man. Like you guys, if you watch Moana, you have Maui in there, dude. Maui's an actual Hawaiian god. I'm a Christian, dude. I don't worship that stuff, but I do like the storytelling behind it. Our people, Hawaiians are like, that's how we share our culture, man. It's through oratory, passing it down generation to generation. So that's why I find myself looking at stories and stuff like that, especially when they're epic or legendary, and mythology fits that bill. But for me, it's not about worshiping and stuff like that. But that's my biggest game of the year. So thanks, man. Thanks, Big B. Tool Man says, "What's up? What's up, Tool Man, bro? Glad you're here, Vontae. Did I shout you out, brother, Vontae? I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do the thing last night, man. And then playing COD and then falling asleep. I'll try and get it out today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do a big. I'll do another. I'll give some reactions. I'll start doing some reactions, or maybe tonight. We'll see. We'll see, bro. But if you haven't seen Squid Game 2, man, it's worth watching out. Especially if you're a Squid Game 1 fan. Go check it out, dude. I know they changed it up the formula up a bit, but I actually liked it. Some people didn't. I get it. But let me switch, bro, to something that I think is important, and I think we'll wrap it up with this, because I'm kind of I've been going for a little while, and I'm kind of losing control of the narrative. That's why I like having the other guys on here, because they can fill in the blanks with me, right? Uh, let's see. Let's see if I can bring this up. Let me set it up for you guys first. I'm going to be talking about. It has a DEI tangent, man, but I actually love this lady's take on it. So let me set it up for you guys, man. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but Avowed, the art director stuck his foot in the mouth, man. He said some stuff on social media that he shouldn't have said, but it got blown up even more when he made like even stronger comments about stuff. And this day and age, man, when you talk about certain things, dude, people are going to do the research. That's just the way it is. And this next video I want to play for you is from Laura Fryer. She actually used to work on Microsoft. Actually, one of the people that I like that worked on Microsoft, dude. I'm OG, so I like Kiki Wolfkill and that whole crew. 343 Studios head. That's I can't remember her name right now because I'm old. You guys know who it is, but it's the head of 343 Studios. Absolutely love her. Phil. That's why I like Phil as well. Man, Phil's from that old school. Miss Major Nelson, all those guys, man. And so she's from that generation of Xbox, and she gave a great message on the whole Evolve thing. I'm not gonna play that one. I'm gonna play her response to, because she got a lot of attention on it, and she got a lot of views. And the reason why I like this video is because I like her. I like how she addresses the issue and the things that she says. So we'll share it with you. It's about 7 minutes long, not too long. And I think we're going to wrap it up with that, guys, because I'm starting to lose the narrative here myself. Hold on. But so this one falls in along of DEI, and then how I feel you should deal with them. Okay. Well, let me share it. Hopefully this works, guys, because I'm not gonna lie, dude. My internet's running a little. I can tell it's running a bit slow. That's why I'm also gonna kill this. Oh, it is big screen. And I'm gonna be off screen doing this, dude. I don't have dual monitors. Something I might look at getting.
Video, the games industry elephant, where people were asking. There were several comments after my video, The Games Industry Elephant, where people were asking, well, how should the Avowed art director address Elon Musk and his post on X? There were a lot of thoughtful comments and very long posts. Today, I would like to thank you for those comments, and I would like to address a few of the questions that were asked. Nurshcast writes, how do you think the guy should have responded to Musk's comment? This is a great question. First, for context, the art director of the game Avowed, which is set to ship later this year, decided to post some comments publicly about his game. Apparently, there are pronouns in the game, and Elon Musk reacted on X, saying that having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable. To which the art director responded, I wanted so badly to make him mad with my game, and I cannot believe it actually happened. Just wait until you see the default, you said little shit.
People don't like you very much, do they?
Here's the problem. Social media is like a chainsaw. You can get a lot of work done. It's a very powerful tool. But you can also cut your leg off. It's very dangerous. You can literally kill yourself. So you need to be careful. If people care about your game at all, which I hope they do, you are going to get criticism about the game online. There are some gamers you will never please, but focusing on them is not where you should spend your time. If you react with ridicule, sarcasm, or scorn, you're allowing the bad actors, your detractors, to set the narrative of your game. You're signing on to it by arguing with them. And here's the problem. It's an amplification move. So they are going to give it back to you 10x. And a lot of these people have nothing better to do than argue with you on the internet. You, on the other hand, have a game and a team to take care of. Dealing with anger is one of the classical problems of human existence. Acting with emotion isn't going to win the day. It never does. As Marcus Aurelius put it, how much more harmful are the consequences of anger and grief than the circumstances that aroused them in us? But I get it. It's definitely tricky. When you're working with a team on a game that you love and someone says something that's very hurtful, it's easy to get defensive. At the same time, I don't think he should have responded. I think he should have let the game speak for itself. A great game.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I know that's something of this generation. where people feel the need to do that kind of stuff, man. But sometimes the best reaction is no reaction. 100% on that, what you said. Let your work speak for you. Let your actions speak for you. That's what I do.
Will survive a controversial choice. Jonathan Grover writes, I appreciate your insight and perspective and have really been enjoying your content. And also, as a dev myself, I find the rhetoric towards the end of this video deeply concerning. It strikes me as victim blaming and allowing bad actors to control the discourse surrounding a game. I agree with you, Jonathan. You shouldn't cede the narrative of your game to anyone. You should be responding as positively as possible. And that means if you're going to respond to criticism, you need to do so in a positive way. You need to be thinking about, how do I persuade people to my way of thinking, to my viewpoint?
And that's important as well in this day and age, because some people just do it to get a rise out of you because they want clicks. They want to stir it up. I mean, that's one of the negatives about social media, but it's the reality.
And you should always leave the door open so that maybe you can even bring in your biggest critic. When Total Biscuit first reviewed Gotham City Imposters on his YouTube channel, he was critical. He had a lot of complaints about the game. He was right. It was a fair review. We didn't get mad. Instead, we fixed things and then went back to him and asked him to review it again, which he did. And I always really appreciated that he would do that. It was very fair of him.
There you go. That's fair, isn't it? It is currently 1 on 5. 1 on 5.
If the art director felt compelled to respond, then he could have said something like this. Elon, we're really sorry that you don't like the design choice that we made, but we felt that it was important for our customers, our fans, to have as much customization as possible. And this was just one choice of many that will be available when we launch our game. I hope that you'll give us a try because we think we've made something special. If they didn't want to respond directly, they could have done an interview where they talked about all their customization options. They could have made it something exciting. They could have done a video of their own. No interview, just do a video. Showcase every cool customization option in Avowed. Get people excited about what's coming. Here's the thing. I personally believe if the Avowed art director wanted to make Elon mad, it would be far more effective to turn a negative into positive sales and press coverage for your game. The truth, though, is that I've been around a few billionaires and they're in their own world.
Shots fired.
And they have very little time, so we probably wouldn't have noticed. Rimshot Killer writes, at what point does it become unreasonable to expect the devs to be professional and turn the other cheek? At what point do we have to acknowledge that the attack or criticism has crossed the line and therefore give the devs the chance to answer honestly and tell the other to shove it? Thanks, Rimshot. Here's the deal. Game developers should always act professionally. There is never a time that they should come to work and act anything but as their best selves. And game companies, they should have policies around how you interact with the public, both in social media and in person. And the thing is, most companies used to have these policies, and I don't know what's going on that they don't seem to have them anymore.
Yeah, well, in 2025, I think they're doing a course correction. Big time. But she's right, 100%.
When I worked at Xbox, we would get ready for E3, and the first thing that we would do is gather everybody in a room that would be attending. And in that meeting, we would explain to them that the minute they got out of the building and headed to the airport, they were now acting as an Xbox representative. They were no longer in a private situation. If you think about it, a flight from Seattle to LA is going to be filled with partners, competitors, and press. And if someone were to talk about a feature at the airport, it's very possible that that could end up as a headline 2 days before you even have your show. Not only that, E3 was a lot of fun. There were bands, there were parties. Game developers like to have a good time. And so part of the reminder to staff was that they were there to represent Xbox and they should act accordingly. Getting drunk and revealing a game feature or giving an interview to someone without approval could cost you your job. Look, being respectful doesn't mean letting the internet haters dictate how people talk about your game. You should be doing that. But don't react. Don't let them set the narrative. You set the narrative. If you love your game and your team, You should be talking about what makes it great and why you made the choices you did, and persuading them that you've made something that they're going to really enjoy. And most of all, make a great game, because at the end of the day, that's all gamers really want.
If you had to sum up video game design in just one word, what would that one word be?
I think you can't lose sight of the fact that it has to be fun. So fun would definitely be it. Yeah.
There were several.
Man, absolutely epic video, guys. It's something I talk about on my channel. I've used it as an example. I'll use it again, man. When I first got my job, one of the managers gathered us all together because I worked as a bagger. I was a bag boy. That was the thing back when I got my first job. Worked for a grocery store chain, and their image was they were well respected in the community. They were from that local community, and their image mattered to them. And so we had a meeting when I first started working there, and the theme of the meeting was the customer is always right. The interesting thing to me was the manager said to me, it was like, is the customer always right? And then he said, and he looked at us, and of course the answer would be yes, right? And he goes, no, they're not always right, because the customer doesn't understand how things work, all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, um, how groceries rotated, how stock is rotated, all of that kind of stuff, right? And I'm new, I'm just coming as a bagger. And we'd have to have this discussion from time to time, right? But this is my first introduction to it. And he basically said, but yes, the customer is always right because they're our customer and they're paying us for our service. And that's why they're always right. And because we know of everything that's behind the scene, that should give us a confidence that it's okay if the customer gets mad. It's okay if the customer's complaining. We should understand them because they don't know. Like one of the big things, man, I used to stock the bread, and a lot of people will come over there, with saying, well, this bread right here is, well, they'll say stuff about the bread. And I'm the guy to actually take it in. I have to rotate it. And they made it, this company that I work with, the store that I work for, like the managers would go around and they would check, like if you're working stock, and I was part-time stock at the time, they would check to make sure that you're stocking it right. So when you bring in the new, like in this case, bread, right, any type of product, but in this case, bread especially, right, because it has a shelf life, right? You'd have to rotate it a certain way, and they would come and check that and make sure that you're doing that. And that's the interesting thing about a lot of the managers at this company. They came up like as bag boys, and they came up as stock, part-time stock, and full-time stock, and they made it to lower management and then middle management, and then some of them ran stores, right? So they had that knowledge base, man. They knew what they were talking about, and you couldn't like disagree with them because that's how they got where they were. They had to know what they're doing, and they had to know every aspect of the store, and that's good though. You want leadership like that, right? Going back to my point with the cabinet picks. But some of the customers too, man, they knew they got that rotation now. Had a lot of elderly people. They wanted the bread that lasted the longest. And again, the customer is right? What I'm supposed to do is pull the stuff from. You can put the stuff in the back, but you got to pull it to the front, the older stuff. And if that customer came in and said, "No, I want that label," because they understood, they figured out a color code, and they knew that that day the white was going to expire shelf life wise. Not that the bread is bad, but shelf life wise. So they wanted the other one. Right? And again, if you guys live in Florida, man, you guys know it's humid over there, right? So anyway, to her point, man, this is an excellent thing. I actually love this take. And again, she used to work at Microsoft, man. I remember her. I believe she's on the Power On video. But that's something that's lacking, I feel. Right, and it's something that these companies need to get back to, is remembering that, dude. People don't have to buy your product. For me personally, dude, I understand what the guy's saying, man. Elon Musk says a lot of stuff online, dude. He just lets it fly. He speaks his mind. But again, dude, you're the one that's making the product. You're the one that wants people to buy it, dude. And a lot of these guys, they wear their heart on their sleeve, dude. A lot of these guys are pro LGBTQ stuff, and they're pro hold on. And they're very pro resistance movement stuff, all that stuff, right? But still, dude, that's not what your goal is. Right? Your goal is to make the best game as possible. And look, if you feel if that's the game that you want to make, your company wants to make that game, go ahead, right? But at the end of the day, dude, there's going to be people. Like, don't let people get under your skin, right? Because it's just going to work out for you in the wrong. Because you're the actual business, you're the actual creator. Right. For me personally, what I would have done is exactly what she would have said. counter it by putting out more video, putting out more content. Because the best thing that you could do is just have an excellent game that blows everything out of the water. And on top of that, Elon Musk does play games. So if he plays games and then you get him to play a game, like I would have sent him a copy of the game. Like, hey, Elon, man, I know you don't feel the pronoun thing is fine, but hey, check out this game, right? And then see what he says. Right? And even if he likes it or dislikes it or just says something off, it doesn't matter because you come off as a bigger man. And I think that's something that a lot of people this generation are having a hard time figuring out. But anyway, man, go check her out. It's her name is Laura Fryer, and she has another video that addressed it originally, and this is her response video. But I'm actually subscribed to her. She has some really good takes on stuff, man. You can tell she's a very well-rounded person. I like people that are like that. And I don't know everything about her, but I'm learning. But I want to share that video with everybody because I think it's important, especially in this day and age, especially as things are shifting for a lot of these companies, man, are getting back to what they need to be focusing on, is growing their company, customer service, customer support, and more importantly, making money, right? Again, for these last 4 years, these guys found out the hard way, man. You can't have your cake and eat it too. There's choices that you got to make, and some of those choices are going to be tough. A lot of these guys weren't flexible enough to do it, and it hurt them. It hurt them, and some industries are no longer around. On top of the smaller companies that went under just because of the economy. So we'd like to see a shift on that. I know I personally would. Let's get back to getting things good, guys, especially in the pop culture side, right? Let's start getting those movies out there. Dude, I haven't seen Sonic 3 yet. Waiting for it to come home. I'm gonna pick it up and watch it with my kids. Absolutely love Sonic 1 and 2. I'm watching Delicious in Dungeon. My daughter tells me it's called Dungeon Meshi. But the translation, Delicious in Dungeon, it is on Netflix. I highly recommend that show. Been enjoying it, man. Has a lot of great characters. Good story arc, good storylines, man. It's out there. It's weird. It's anime, but I think it's good. Still watching Solo Leveling. I'm in season 2. My daughter was nice enough to catch up with me from season 1. Rewatched it with her. Then now we're in season 2, enjoying that. In fact, the new episode should have dropped today or yesterday. I'm glad we're off tomorrow, so I can enjoy catching up with some of my favorite animes. Dude, anime is going to be big in 2025. Dude, it's going to be huge. You think gaming is going to be huge in 2025. Anime is going to blow up. And a lot of the shows that a lot of people love that are very popular from up to 3 years ago, a lot of them are bringing back new seasons. Again, Solo Leveling kicked it off right in January, man, with Solo Leveling 2. Go check that. Go check it out, dude. I mean, it might not be a cup of tea. It might. Hey, Big Money. Yeah, what's up, brother? I'm just wrapping it up right now. But thanks for stopping in. What else we got? I don't know, man. I've been on a nostalgic kick as well. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with my daughter. She didn't watch it. I thought she did. So we watched together. And you know what, dude? I'm going to miss Marvel. There's a lot of stuff going on with Marvel right now that I hope that they course correct and get back to good. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of those movies that gave me hope for them. Right, and we'll see, dude. I mean, I'm not subscribed to them, dude. I don't follow them as hardcore as I used to be. I'm kind of done with them, to be honest with you. But watching that movie is hoping that in the future they'll have something. They got Captain America, Winter Soldier drop, or Brave New World dropping, man. I don't know how well that's really going to do. I think my son might want to watch it. But then he might go with his friends, so I might get to miss that. I'm like trusted to verify with Marvel nowadays. And Disney, dude. Disney, I have Inside Out too. I want to watch that, so we're gonna watch it together. I was able to get it on sale on the Xbox store. Again, if you guys are an Xbox, if you guys like Xbox consumers and fans, dude, definitely check out their sales. They got a lot of sales every week. They have it, but at the end of the year, man, they're blowing it up. And shout out to Sega, man. He talked about this. The sales wasn't as good as we had last year for various reasons, man. The economy being the number one thing, man. These guys are trying to make as much money as possible. This is why they're all going to be in their inauguration today. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, listening to these guys go at it for divvying up this pie. Especially when it comes to tech, man. A lot of them have their own agendas. AI being one of them. Microsoft has a bet. Elon Musk has a bet. Then you got the space race between Musk and Bezos. Everybody's nice enough to let Mark Zuckerberg back in. That punk. I don't know, dude. I watched the interviews with them, man. A lot of people are saying he's being disingenuous, but at the end of the day, I'll take it because because it's about money. That's what they should be focused on, in my opinion. Right? Yeah, let's make the world a good place and stuff like that. But you don't need to police people and be authoritative. People will take care of that themselves. And again, man, going into 2025, look, guys, DEI is on the ropes. That's a good thing. It was never about equality, dude. I mean, it was never about, and it's not about even equity, man. What it is about is people finding an avenue to promote the ideas that they like, and anybody that went against it, they would try and destroy. And we're getting away from that, which is good. And that's being highlighted by, again, what I talked about earlier, a lot of people in pop culture kind of turning on each other, which is, I think, is healthy. It's a healthy debate to have, right? To put it out there, because some people think they're something that they're not, right? And on the political side, a lot of you guys think you're conservative. You're not. You know, you guys got red pilled. You're coming into it, dude. There's a lot of things that being it matters if you're a conservative or not. And I'm not saying you can't call yourself that. Call it whatever you want to. But all of this stuff will be sifted out, dude. It's like separating the wheat from the chaff, dude. A conservative mindset is a certain type of mindset. You know, a lot of people that are calling themselves conservative, they tend to fall along the lines of they're fiscally conservative, but liberally, socially liberal, and that's not going to work, dude. That's dual-mindedness. And you don't have to be conservative. Just be you. Just be the best part of you that you can. And a lot of people are falling into that line, right? There's a lot of people that came over politically onto the right side. They shifted center. Center shifted more to the right, so they're considered right wing, which they're not. And a lot of them don't propose to be, but there are people that are proposing, and they're on this journey. Try and support them, right? Everybody's different. Right? Everybody has their own set of morals and principles, and sometimes it takes certain things for them to come over and come to a full realization of where they are politically, or spiritually as well. There's people that have converted over to become Christianity, and they got to struggle with stuff. And that's going to be the way it is, man. Don't be judgmental. Pray for them. If anything, pray with them. Steel sharpens steel, right? What we were supposed to do. If they're going off the beaten path, you try and help them get back on their path. And sometimes you have to bring the sword when you do that, right? Because it's not about you. It's not about downgrading them or being one up over them. What it's all about is that their walk with Christ and their journey with Christ and their journey in Christianity, right? That's the most important thing. When you do it, just think about yourself and where you were before you got the gospel message and before you acknowledge Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And a lot of us know as Christians, when you do that, there's not some magical fairy dust that drops from heaven and sprinkles you and you're perfect. You're far from it. In fact, a lot of people struggle more. The majority of Christians struggle more when they become a Christian than when they were before, right? Because now they know the truth and they know what they're supposed to do and not supposed to do. And that's the hard part. When you didn't have the knowledge of that, it wasn't as hard because you just did what you thought you were doing was fine, or maybe it bothered you, but you didn't have that. You might have had that little conscious nagging at you, man. Maybe and that's now you have the full blown Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit will convict you if you are a Christian, and you have to deal with that, right? And that's why it's hard, right? It's not going to be easy. There's Christians struggling every day: alcoholism, pornography, doing a simple something is going to church, right? All of that, right? So just keep that in mind. Just remember where you were, how you are, and where you are in your life. And I think that's the important thing about having new converts and people young in the faith, because it helps remind the people that consider them that are more mature spiritually. Remind you of where you were, and that should be humbling, right? But I mean, look, there's a lot of people out there that fire and brimstone, and I'm fine with that too. Everybody's different. Just keep that in mind. Right, but at the end of the day, it's about the cross, right? The cause of Christ, and it's the coming kingdom that we're going to be a part of, right? And again, the focus should be God always, first and foremost, above all things. Right? So if there's something that bothers you, man, like I do a lot of pop culture stuff. I don't do a lot of the stuff I used to do in the past. I was very naive and ignorant of certain things. Once I got that knowledge of certain stuff, right? I had a youth director that was very, very knowledgeable about the occult and all this stuff, going back to I'll wrap it up with the satanic panic, because that was a real thing when I was growing up. And I had a youth director that was working with the local police about it, because there were people doing satanic rituals and stuff like that. Dude, the devil never stops, dude. It's just one thing about the devil, man. That's all he has. His whole focus is to just destroy everything that God stands for, man. That is his main focus, and he's 24/7, man. And he switches it up. Right, that's why you see certain movements, and then it'll flip itself. That's why the church is struggling so much, man. He's changed his tactics, and the church is being slow to respond. In fact, the church is fighting within itself, right? And that's something that's always happening, man. And in the past, it's been on a level of war and bloodiness. We live in more modern times, but still no different. Right? The devil's always going to be there. He's always going to be changing up his tactics, dude. You got to be ready. That's why. Stay in your Bible, read your scripture, pray to God. Don't grieve the Holy Spirit. Remember, your body's a temple, right? Treat it accordingly. This life is temporary. You got an eternal heaven and an eternal reward. But like all rewards, you gotta work at it, man. You gotta stay in there. And then again, though, I will say, dude, it is all by faith. It's nothing that you can earn. And Jesus already sacrificed. He put himself out on the cross, died for our sins, and then you get the gift of grace, and then through faith, that you're able to be God. But you can't do it. You can't do it. Dude. I don't care how God, when He looks at people, you're not on the level of God. That's why God had to send Jesus to die on the cross, so that we can be reconciled with Him. Through Jesus' blood. Only man that walked the face of the earth without sin. Right, read those Gospels. Look at Jesus' ministry, what He preached, what He believed in. But yeah, my youth director, dude, he was hardcore in that stuff, and the reason he was that way because he understood what that was. He had experiences with it, dude. He was a drummer in a rock band, and when he talked about his life and his experiences, he didn't glorify it, dude. He was coming from the sense of thankfulness that God was able to save him and that gave him a favor for saving other people and keeping them away. And for me, look, I would research the things, and he'd tell me, he's like, no, don't, you're dabbling in this stuff, right? And that's what a lot of people do, right? And video games is a perfect example of that, dude. I remember playing games, and once he opened my eyes to that, I was like, because I'm not saying that people are satanic, but what they did was they dabbled in it, which means they did the research. And as gaming has come along so far, that's what a lot of people do. They look into cultures and mythology. That's why I don't play a lot of the, Ghost Topia and all that kind of stuff, dude. There's a demonic influence on it. I'm kind of sensitive to that kind of stuff, so I don't mess with it. Which is too bad because it's an amazing looking game. I did play it, right? But once I started playing it and some of the stuff they did in there, right? Because like some people they don't understand, right? And so for me, man, like I said earlier, I put myself in a situation. But back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, they had the satanic panic, and I feel bad because a lot of the people that were speaking up on the moral structure of the U.S., the society in general, man, they saw we were on the slippery slope. They're maybe a little bit too hardcore for the people to understand, but sometimes, dude, people just have to go through things to understand. You can't make them understand. And some of these guys went a little bit too hardcore. I'll say that, dude. But I mean, just because they went hardcore doesn't mean they weren't right, dude. And look at where we are in the world now. Right? Dude, these things, sin has consequences. And if you're going to be a society, especially a country like that, the way we were founded, and you're going to turn away from God, dude, there's going to be repercussions. And that's what we're dealing with right now, dude. We have a deaf culture. We have a culture of people that don't appreciate life. We have a culture of people that are all about themselves, me, all of that, dude. And it's coming to a head, right? And again, bringing it back, this is why we talk about the election, why we talk about the divides in this country, why we're talking about people actually opening their eyes. The Bible has actually been selling more now than it's ever had been. The sales for Bibles are going through the roof, and that's because a lot of stuff that's going on in the world, man. People are starting to think about their mortality, or asking the questions, and some of the things they would go to, whether it's pop culture, the establishments that they believed in, whatever things that they were involved in that they believed in, that there's no answer, and the only one that has the answer is God, and that's opening people's eyes. I've had my eyes reopened with things that was pre-diluvian, right? The flood. I used to think of the flood as just God's punishment upon the world, which is true, and Noah, and what that message means, like how God saved, right? It's a lot of being a Baptist, especially, right? It's a lot of it has to do with Jesus sacrificing the prophecy, Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, and how we can be saved, right? It's all that traditional, in a sense, almost theological expression of the stories and stuff like that. But my eyes have been opened up so much more lately. The reason I'm not talking about it as much, man, is I got to get better at explaining it because it's something that's mattered to me. Because there's some stuff that's going on with pre-diluvian stuff. Again, Book of Enoch and stuff like that. That's not biblical, right? And I think it's funny, man, because I've occupied the space of the supernatural in the sense of through comic books and fantasy and science fiction, right? And when you look at some of that stuff, you can see why certain people had certain types of beliefs when back in, I'm talking ancient cultures, right? And what people are doing, and they're marrying up right now with the Bible, especially with the Old Testament and the prophecies and stuff like that. I find that absolutely amazing. Like for me, especially, like when I think about the flood, man, I mean, if you think about it this way, like God, when you read the Bible, God had regretted making man, and that's why He wanted to wipe out the entirety of the earth, save for Noah and his family. And when you look at what when you read in the Bible, and when I looked at it, I was like, wow, dude, that can happen right now. I'm pretty sure God's not happy with our society or our world at all. You know, He did make a promise, right, about not flooding the earth. But it's almost amazing to me that we've been given so much grace, and there's reasons for that. I understand. I just want to go all the way down that rabbit hole. I want to wrap it up. But there are reasons for that. But what happened is I was studying some of this stuff and listening to some of these people, and they were talking about how bad it must have been for God to actually do that. And that's the part that actually I'm interested in. Right? I'm really looking at that. And of course, this all stemmed from the whole alien stuff, right? Because I never believe in aliens. I don't believe there's life in other. I actually believe that the Earth is unique and we're created because we're created in the image of God, right? And so it's a very unique thing. And then the fine tuning of the universe has always been something I've always been believing that. How certain things are just made a certain way, right? And because the technology we have now, a lot of this stuff that's been taught for generations are starting to be questioned, and starting to people are beginning to believe that it's not true because it's not. Right? When I was growing up, we had to base it on our faith and what the faith told us and what you read. But nowadays, the science is catching up with that. Again, as time goes on, man, the Bible continues to be proven time after time correct. Right. And if I were you guys, I would do a deep dive, man, just to let you guys know. Dude, 2025 is going to be huge. Dude, it's not going to be easy, too, man. Some of the guys on our side of the aisle are like, okay, we're going to turn this bad boy around. Like, dude, you're going to have some battles. And for me, I'm kind of worried, man. I mean, it takes a spiritual strength to do some of the stuff that the Herculean effort that is taking, man. It amazed me, like President Trump, how strong he's been. But it's opened his eyes spiritually, man. And hopefully that continues. Dude. That's the most important thing for him, is that he needs to come over and be full on. But God can use anybody. I think God is using him in this situation. And a lot of it has to do with our society and how far I feel from God we've actually created our own problems, right? But God is merciful, and he's taking mercy upon us, and we need to take opportunity to acknowledge this and to turn our lives around. And that's what I'm going to be doing on this channel. That's why I talked about it earlier. A couple of videos ago, and throughout the year, a little bit about turning my channel. That's what I'm going to be doing here. That's why we're talking about politics and pop culture, because it's something that's interesting to me. One, number two, I kind of want to be the microphone for my channel going forward, right? But anyway, man, let me wrap it up, man. 2 hours straight, so we'll call it a day. Shout out to the chat that was here, man. I know this is not a topic most of the people that follow this channel are concerned about, but I appreciate you guys showing up. T, man, hopefully I'll see you on the COD stuff if the servers are working. Maybe we'll play together someday, man. I know, dude. I'm on the rock and I'm in the Pacific, bro. That connection for me hasn't been stable. Some games, man. I was like at 106, 120. Oof. Maybe I'm being punished from dropping from the games. I don't know, man. But maybe one day. Faded, man. Thanks for being here, brother. And like to your comment, dude, 100%. I think Microsoft is gonna have big benefits, man. That's why Satya is there right now, dude. And we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with TikTok. Man, it might not be Microsoft, man. Facebook might want to get involved, dude. I know Elon Musk is interested in doing it, man. He's trying to grow his little online empire, man. And then, if Elon's getting involved, Bezos and all those dudes are like, well, hold on. Hold on, brother. I know you got an inside scoop with the president, the incoming president, man. But I want to be at that inauguration, and I'm dropping my billion. I think it's $1 billion I'll drop, right? And the reason why people's like, why is $1 billion? What's so important about that number? Look, there's regulations to that kind of stuff, right? Which is needed, man, because you don't want people just straight up buying this stuff. For all the opining that Biden did about oligarchies and stuff like that, that dude is one of the biggest factors of the oligarchy. At least on Trump's side, man, he's trying to end all of that stuff, especially when it comes to the federal government. Yeah, and then who knows, man? They might pick up Assassin's Creed. They might pick up Ubisoft. We'll see, man, because Ubisoft's really courting Tencent from what all the news accounts are. Monte, brother, thanks for being here, man. Tool, man, thanks for showing up as well. And Big B Money. Yeah, sorry, Big B. This is more on the political side of my channel, but I appreciate you coming in. But there's some Microsoft stuff in there, man. Go follow Laura Fryer, man. Go check out her videos, man. She has really good perspective on stuff, which I find fascinating. And she's from that old school of Microsoft, which I miss. So, yeah, but everybody, again, thank you guys for being here. Xbox Online channel, my host, Saber Forever. We out.